Let's jump off over to the NPL in New South Wales, which I believe there's a huge interest in the NPL, and it's been, the competition's just grown from strength to strength, and like I said, some of these NPL clubs at the end of the season are going to be playing um, in the competition format of the B League as well, so they're looking forward to that as well. I'll just quickly go through the results of the weekend, and then we'll talk about some of the games. And then, like I said, we're going to tee up David Perkovic, who's done a fantastic job at New South Wales Spirit FC. You've got to remember, Spirit FC last year were with us at Hills, when I was at Hills. One stage we're battling maybe a talk about being relegated, and they've turned the season around to be league leaders and playing some breathtaking football as well. Um, Sydney Olympic Central Coast, unfortunately, Sydney Olympic, their game was the only game washed out from the rain, playing up at Belmore. That was the only game washed out. Like I said, league leader Spirit FC would be disappointed because they really should have beaten Sutherland Sharks. They had a 1-1 draw. Current champions league, Marconi, were too strong for the Western Sydney Wanderers, beating them 1-0. In the local derby, St George FA versus St George City, St George were too strong City to beat St George FA 2-1. In an absolutely cracking game on Sunday afternoon, if you got to watch it on YouTube at all, it was RPF 4, Rockdale 3. And we're going to bring up Jurasevsky. I've got to speak about Jurasevsky up to you, Andy. Blacktown City 1, Manly 1, Wollongong Wolves 1, Sydney United 2, Sydney FC 0, Mount Druitt 2, and our man Thomas Lopez was on the score sheet there that we know we follow closely with the Brazilian. So Thomas Lele and the Brazilian, if Mount Druitt need goals, if they can get them two playing together, they'll have a good chance of staying up, because Thomas Lopez, we know how deadly he can be, and if he gets given a chance, and if the Brazilian can start finding him like the other day, and they can work a combination, mate, Mount Druitt will go a long way for Mount Druitt staying up in this competition. Just before we talk about these games, we'll get the results quickly of the NPL League 1. We had Hakoah 0, Northern Tigers 2. We had SD Raiders 3, Canterbury 1, Bankstown City 0, Blacktown Spartans 2, Uni New South Wales New Interlions 2, my team Dulwich Hill, yes, we beat Bonnyrigg 2-1, Hills United went down to the Bulls 1-0, Raldemere went down to Newcastle Jets 4-0, and Mounties went down to Macarthur Rams 1-0. That's the scores from the NPL 1 and NPL 2. Now, looking at some of those games, like I said, that game, Apia versus Rockdale, right? Like you watched the A-League, and that was like A-League standard. I mean, it was a topsy-turvy game. Apia were leading 2-0. Rockdale came back. Rockdale took the lead. Apia came back. But please, Jurasevsky, he's won every award possible. But go have a look at the hat-trick he scored. He scored a volley, a volley from a corner. A ball played through to him, he beats his defender, he scores. He gets another chance out wide, cuts inside on his left foot and scores. I mean, the A-League and probably even Australia international football, the Baker Jurasevsky, as they call him, the Baker, we've been denied of seeing him play at a higher level in the A-League or even play higher, because in the NPL he's been phenomenal, if I try and say that word.
Yeah, Chubbs, he's had A-League experience, being at Sydney FC back in the early days, and still only 31 years old, but a hat trick in less than 25 minutes, I think it was, in that second half there. It's unbelievable, mate. I went to the grand final, Parramatta Stadium last season when Marconi took out, and the scenes there and the crowd there was just unbelievable. It's and if you don't get out to your local NPL games, do yourself a favour. If you can't get out to a game, watch it on YouTube, as you mentioned, on the NPL TV channel. It's just the talent that we've got there, and that's why we hope and pray that something comes from this B League, that a lot of these players that are in these that are in the NPL can somehow find that as another stepping stone to further their career. But it's we know they're two bitter rivals, RP and Rockdale. Especially when the goal comes in injury time, Chubbs. It's always a lot a lot of drama there. But it was, it's massive for Apia to fight back the way they did and manage to get on equal points now with
Well, they're
with
jumping
Rockdale.
the St Paul Cup also with that injury time goal. I mean, Simmons also equalised in the 87th minute. And came also with that strike from outside the box to win a 4-3. Wild scenes at Lambert Park. But like you said, I'll quickly look at the table before we speak of a few other games. You've got Spirits still on top with 20 points. Marconi second on 18. Apia third on 14. Rockdale fourth on 14. Manly fifth on 12 points. And Blacktown City round up the top six on 12 points. Just outside there is St George City on 11. Sutherland on 11. Wollongong on 10. Olympic at 10th on 9 points. Obviously, they've played a game less. Sydney United are on 9 points. Mount Druitt have moved up to 12th now with that win on 8 points. St George City are 13th on 7 points. 14th Sydney FC. Well, if you look at 14th, 15th and 16th in the NPL, you've got Sydney FC, Central Coast and Western Sydney Wanderers, all the A-League teams. Now, we know all these A-League clubs, they probably struggle a little bit while the A-League competition is on, and we know they do get stronger once the A-League season ceases, and a lot of players fall back and play in that competition, which I find a little bit unfair, but that's for another day. But that's when you probably see a lot of improvement from them.
Yeah, look, that's an interesting one, because it's not just by luck that these three teams are where they are now. It's the choice of player that they have at the moment. But as you said, once the A-League season ends, you find a few of these players that are on the fringe coming back to this NPL competition and really making a difference. But we know they're all generally under 23 players that they're fielding. These A-League clubs, which is what they do have the pick of the talent. Let's be honest, it happens in the women's game as well. But they manage to field what they can, what they've got to pick from, and then you'll see a lot of those A-League players return back to the NPL once the season is over.
How you Marconi, current champions? They're sitting in second spot, I believe. Yeah, second spot at the moment. How do you think their chances of going back to back this season, Andy? A club that you follow closely?
Yeah, look, my local team, Marconi. I live down the road, and I was actually meant to head up to that game on Saturday night, but I just had some other commitments. But look, considering the biggest loss for them was obviously Tim Wilkowski, who signed a deal with Western Sydney Wanderers, and good on him. It was well deserved. That I think he's 26 years of age.
Yeah.
Something at that level. But look, they've obviously still haven't really lost much in terms of the players and the talent that they've got. Always been strong, always been a big club, Chubbs, as you know. But the way they're going, it's definitely achievable for them to go back to back.
Another team that I think is going to have a big say, like I said, in this competition, I think should be doing a little bit better is another local club, Sydney United, with Ante Juric. Had a good win away to Wollongong Wolves. There's been a little bit of inconsistency, but I thought that they should be doing a little bit better than they are. But you have a little bit of inconsistencies because even Blacktown City, I mean, the NPL, even in NPL1 and in the Premier League, I mean, anyone can beat anyone on that day. It's pretty much even the A-League, I suppose, football overall, but especially in these NPL competitions, if you're a little bit off it on the day, you do get beaten. Doesn't matter where you are on the ladder.
And the talent is there, Chubbs. All the teams have got good talents. It's always a mix of youth and older heads, like you said with Jurasevsky, although he's only 31, But the fact that the talent is out there, and you see it. Like I said, you see it at the NPL level. You just mentioned that the hat-trick and the quality of hat-trick that Jurasevsky scored on the weekend was just proves.
It's a technician at his best, at his trade. I mean,
unbelievable.
When you want you've got a young son at home. If you've got a young son at home playing a striker, get out and watch Jurasevsky. Get out to Rockdale 11 Sports and go watch him. Study him. Watch him on YouTube. Just watch his movement because it's incredible. He's always there. He always pops up. He reads the game well. He's there at the right time. I mean, and in these competitions, if you can have a goal scorer that can score you the 20, 25 goals a season, it goes a long way for you
Oh,
to go close to winning
yeah,
the competition.
yeah, 100%, Jobs. We know how important the goal scorers are at all levels, you know, and if you can get a striker that can put that many, a tally of 20 or so goals in a competition a season, you're absolutely halfway there, you know. So
Yeah, just
goes a long way.
yeah, David, like I said, we're going to be speaking. David's going to be coming on now. We're going to be speaking to David Perkovic, who's been doing a wonderful job, like I said, at Spirit FC. I mean, um,
You know, I was actually I saw Adam Peacock last week.
yeah,
I'm not sure if you were, but
his son
he's
was playing down there.
correct. Yeah, so he's at Wanderers now,
Yes,
Noah.
he used to play at
Yeah,
Spirit.
so that's right. That's right. So that's what I'm interested to find out. He was banging in goals and really on fire last season for Spirit. Young Noah Peacock, the son of the great Adam Peacock, legend broadcaster, loves football, loves Newcastle United as well. So I had a good chat to him about that, and I asked him about how Noah's going. But yeah, obviously a bit of a step up going from Spirit to the Wanderers.
Oh, definitely, it was a good step up for him. But like I said, Spirit's a great club, been run really well down there by David. We're just waiting for him to get on in a minute. He'll be coming on. But like I said, them and Marconi's still undefeated. So, you know, it's going to be interesting times ahead. All the big guns are there: Spirit, Marconi, Apia, Rockdale, Manly doing a lot better this year. You got Blacktown City. I mean, St George is really doing well with the signing of Bayan Tanel. We know Bayan Tanel was the partner in crime of Jurasevsky for so many years, and now has moved to St George, and he's scoring goals for fun this season as well. So, you know, it's a healthy competition, and like I said, you've got Mount Druitt who went up. They're looking to stay up. Young Thomas Lopez, he could keep him up down there. Sydney, you know, so it's an interesting competition, this one. And the one club that I know we get a lot of talk, and I get a lot of talk from, uh, why they're struggling is Sydney Olympic, but we'll leave that for another day. It's a huge story. Sydney Olympic, a proud club, big. It's got big heritage, a big, but unfortunately in recent times haven't been the club that everyone wants them to be.
I was going to ask you about them, but I think we will leave it for another day. But what I will ask you about is your club, Dulwich Hill, in New South Wales League One. Big win on the weekend, and we speak quite regularly about your role there at Dulwich Hill. Can you fill us in a bit more, mate, for the people that may not know what you're doing down there at Dulwich Hill?
Yeah, I'm an assistant first grade coach there to a wonderful first grade coach in Tony Valavanas, who's been at the club for over 23 years. Tony has. He's been a great servant to Dulwich Hill, at the Dulwich Hill there, and he's been brought up through the ranks. He won some minor premierships and championships there through the 20s, and finally got his chance at first grade. And he's done a terrific job in with a very very small budget. I mean, as you know, in this NPL2, NPL1, and NPL competition, there's not a great financial as other clubs. We're not as strong as other clubs, but we have a great youth system. The youth system is run terrific at the moment. The youth league's going well. Our 20s are flying, and first grade we're very competitive. So we're really happy where the club are this season. It's been a wonderful, and Tony has brought in some great people: Spiro Hatzis, Gilly, myself. Imran, strength and conditioning coach. He's really worked hard off the scenes. We've brought M&J Chickens, major sponsor. So the club's worked really hard away and off the park, and we're seeing the results starting to come through our youth and through our seniors as well.
Well, it was a slow start to the season from you guys, but I think there was a bit injuries, suspensions, that sort of was a reason behind that. But now that you guys have got some personnel on board, the results are starting to come. Can you see yourself pushing up in those final? I mean, it'll be difficult to get to the top two, but
well, in our competition, the top team automatically qualifies to the Premier League.
yeah,
The second team goes into a playoff. I mean, you know, we wouldn't. They wouldn't. That was never like we always start You always start the season hoping for that, but that wasn't our ambition. Our ambition was, we can finish mid-table, and it'll be a good achievement for the club, and then build on what we've started this year, and just build on it, and eventually, we'll grow on it.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's interesting to see Northern Tigers up, equal top with SD Raiders at the moment. SD Raiders is a club that a very, very strong youth. Chubbs, I mean, they're one of the clubs local to me that I go watch a lot of their youth, along with Marconi, Bulls and Sydney United in particular, that in and around my area. But SD Raiders first grade. It'll be massive for them, for a club like SD Raiders to make it into the NPL if they were to be successful this season.
I had a bit of a technical issue, but I can see David nice and clear. He's been patiently there waiting for us. Appreciate you waiting there, Dave. Good evening, I've got to say. Great to have you on our first episode here of Football Fever. And in big news, you're leading the competition. You've taken the competition by storm this year in the Premier League. No one really tipped Spirit FC, maybe even making the top six, let alone be 6-2, six wins, 2 draws, and 0 losses after 8 rounds. Dave, what's going on down there?
Things in the water.
I mean, I've got to say, it was a master stroke of signing Cubo from our team Hills last season. I mean, he's a phenomenal striker, and I think he's fitted in perfectly into your system down there at Spirit, and he's even grown leaps and bounds. I mean, that was a great magic piece of off-work transfer.
Yeah, look, obviously he caught my eye last season when we played Hills, and he scored a hat-trick against us, so that was enough to convince me. I had my eye on him earlier in the season anyway. I got a tip even before you guys had signed him at Hills that there was a Japanese striker that was trialing at Marconi that was pretty good. But yeah, I thought he had a really decent season, given the fact that Hills struggled. And yeah, I thought his attributes would suit the type of football that we try to play at Spirit. So I tried to get in there early to get his services for this season. And like you said, he's had a great start to the season.
Dave, you're a quiet man, and since I've known you, I think you keep things tight to yourself, because we did play you in a pre-season friendly. It was a close game, but when we spoke, you weren't really. I don't know. Could say last year, let's be honest. At one stage, people were talking about you being relegated, but you've done well not to be in that position by the end of it. But could you see yourself being in this position where you are after 8 rounds? Did you believe it yourself?
Look, you don't really think to yourself before the season starts after 8 rounds where you kind of want to be. You kind of just you have a process that you want to stick to as close to as possible. We had we changed our formation. Not that formations are everything, but it's kind of our foundation of where we want to how we start off in terms of our football. So we changed a lot of things this season in terms of we changed our training nights, we changed a lot of our squad members, we changed our formation. We no longer play with traditional wingers, we play with wing-backs. So yeah, look, it was a huge change, but we were quite confident with the players that we brought in recruitment that will do well, and our aim was, I guess we didn't want to put a limit on ourselves per se, but given that this is our 3rd season in the league, we didn't want to obviously have unrealistic goals. So with I think the season before last we finished 10th, and last season 9th, or 11th and 10th, whichever the way it was. So we wanted to. Our aim was to finish in finals football. We felt that we signed a good enough squad, and they were responding well enough in pre-season to have that aspiration. But now, given the spot that we are in, it's still obviously very, very early days. We haven't hit even a third of the season, but we're very happy with how things are travelling. If you ask me before the season start, that I'll be 6 wins and 2 draws, I would have taken it for sure,
I
as
think you,
most coaches
I
would.
think you'll be very frustrated after the weekend because I watched the game and yous were all over Sutherland Sharks. I mean, a great free kick. I mean, they put 6 on the wall. He still bent it around the corner and scored a cracking free kick. But Sutherland equalled late, and that's typical football. You don't take your chances, you don't bury them, and they get one opportunity, and it was 1-1. So it was a little bit of a missed opportunity there on against Sutherland Sharks on the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. Look, to be honest, I thought our first half was probably our best footballing display that we've had all season. Um, but as the football gods shows itself, sometimes you can have your best general play, but we didn't really put the nail in the coffin in the sense that we had plenty of chances. Could have been quite easily 3-4 up at half time. But yeah, it was one of those days where we didn't bury our chances, and to be honest, up until date, we've been very, very clinical. So I can't be too harsh on the boys in that sense, but it definitely changed at halftime for the second half. Sutherland changed their formation, tried to match ours a little bit, and we didn't adapt it to it too well. So I'm not sure why, because we've played against that formation before. Obviously, Blacktown City play a similar formation, and Apia played a similar formation against us as well. So it was a little bit of a strange how it changed. Maybe the boys felt a little bit of pressure because they felt like we should have been way more in front at that point. But credit to Sutherland, they got themselves back into the game, and it's a draw.
Andy?
Yeah, David, welcome, mate. First time obviously speaking to you. I'm just interested to know what your background is, mate, and how you got into coaching, and whether there was any playing days back then, whether you're a hack like myself, or whether you played at a decent level, and just tell us a bit about yourself.
Sure, Andy. Thanks. Yeah, look, my father's Croatian, so as you could probably tell by my surname, my mum's from the Caribbean islands, but growing up, played football. Most of my career at Sydney United, played up until the reserve grade NSL level, but I retired at 21. Stopped playing at 21, as kind of a lot of people. A lot of younger players reach that age, they either get to that next level or they kind of drop off and get into the workforce. And kind of that's what was me. I went into real estate, working weekends. So I wasn't really the type of person to play football I only enjoyed it at the top level. I didn't like social football, so to speak. I didn't get that much enjoyment out of that. So yeah, I stopped playing at 21, started coaching at 24, and that's when I met Tony Valavanis. Coach at Dully. I coached one season at Stanmore Hawks, and then I went to Dulwich Hill the following season. Did the first ever C license in the country at the AIS. And then in 2011, I started coaching first grade football at Fraser Park.
Dave, I suppose you've got burning ambitions one day yourself, because I believe a lot of you NPL coaches, I mean, I know Peter Tsakenis has spoke a few times about this and he's a little bit disappointed. But do you think there should be the A-League clubs? I know they now look, even today they mentioned they're looking at a coach from overseas. Do you think the A-League, the NPL coaches don't get a fair looking at the A-League, or just not enough opportunity?
It's a good question. I guess Ben Kahn trying to kind of change that feel a bit. He did very well in Queensland, and then did obviously very well at Melbourne Knights, and then got a shot at Brisbane Roar. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. But yeah, look, I don't see why more coaches isn't given the opportunity. I'm not sure how many get interviewed. I certainly haven't been. That's for sure. But
well, if you continue on this run, maybe by the end of the year.
But yeah, I don't know how many coaches get a fair shot at being interviewed. If they got in the interviewed process and there were someone beat them in terms of their presentation and what they had to offer, then that's fair enough. But I think definitely NPL coaches should get more of a look in at even at just the interview phase, and let them kind of showcase what they can do, and how they think they can set up their league club that is looking for a gig moving forwards. Because I think the coaching talents at NPL level is getting much better. I started coaching in the NPL space, albeit not the top tier, but in 2011. So, and to see how far it's come along, it's quite significant. So, yeah, really impressed with the tactical analysis of some of the NPL coaches that's on showcase week to week now.
I suppose looking at the normal teams, I suppose your same would be again your tips that are going to be very strong at the end of the season. The Rockdale, Marconi's, probably Blacktown City, Manly's a bit of a surprise package. But I was telling Andy earlier, someone like Jurasevski, doesn't matter. He has been the talk of the NPL for the last 3 seasons, banging goals for fun. He scored another hat-trick on the weekend. Why can't you coaches stop him, Dave?
Well, we have. I've been had a not too bad run against him so far. Albeit he still has scored against us, but no, look, he's a prolific striker. He's done very well in the league, and he always works off the shoulder off the defenders. And if the defenders get their eye off him for a second and he's get played in behind, he's just deadly. So. He doesn't need many chances to convert, so definitely one. Especially we play Rockdale this weekend, so it's something that we need to pay attention to this week.
It's going to be a cracker game, and anyone can watch it on YouTube. And if you haven't got on YouTube, get on YouTube and watch the live action on the NPL, just like the A-League on Paramount. There's some great football action. Just quickly, Dave, before we let you go. Just wanted to say, so now moving forward after this great start, I suppose you'll be just looking to try and secure hopefully a top 6 spot by the end of the season.
Yeah, look, but at the same time, we don't want to limit ourselves. We're at top spot at the moment, so we've earned it. So we're going to try and stay there as long as possible. And if we get to that position in the last third of the season, there or thereabouts, we'll definitely push for honours. You don't play football without trying to win a trophy. So
100%.
whilst we're in contention, we'll aim for that top spot. And if we don't eventually get there, then obviously the finals position is going to be important to play for that championship grand final winners. So, but like I said, whilst we're first, we're going to give the league title a crack.
No, it'd be huge for the club if you can win a minor premiership for your club down there, the New South Wales Spirit, doing fine things, and that'd be a great achievement. And I mean, credit to yourself. I know you work really hard, just like all the NPL coaches do. And you don't get financially paid for it like other coaches. It's all about the love and the passion for the game, and you show that in spades. So congratulations, Dave. I love watching your team. Love talking to you all the time, and pleasure. Thank you for being on Football Fever tonight.
Thank you for having me. Cheers.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Yeah, champion bloke, David, and I mean, he's done a terrific job at Spirit FC, and he's really turned that club around. And see, Andy, when we speak about it, you can keep a coach there for 2, 4.